celebrating the world's most popular sport. This is Ultimate Soccer. And now your host, here's Soccer Steve.
How are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Very good. Before we get into this, I need to thank Deb for the kind work in setting this up. It's absolutely great from her. So Deb Delegado, got to thank her first, mate.
Not a problem.
Catching up, I want to start off with the Dero TFC. I really like the idea. The academy originally was not linked to TFC, but it is now, yeah? Tell us more about that.
The academy was started in 2014 as an official academy. Before that, I was just doing training and through my foundation, doing personal training, development training, and then it kind of spiraled into grassroots development and then into academy. The goal is always to have my own academy.
When you look at guys like Tajon Buchanan and Alphonso Davies and kids like that, you touched on the grassroots, Dwayne. Grassroots is really what's making this national team really operate on the field nowadays. It's been a long time coming, so the more academies we have like yours, the better it's going to be. Would you not agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at, I think when you look at Buchanan, when you look at Kyle Larin, when you look at all these players, a lot of them are from the strengths of MLS, and creating an opportunity very similar to what you would see in Europe with the professional clubs, having a pathway for these kids to grow and develop and to hone their talents here in Canada, something that I never had growing up. And something that we see now the benefits of having these professional organizations, Montreal Impact, Vancouver Whitecaps, and of course Toronto FC. And now we see with the CPL on the rise, it's only going to grow the game, create more platforms for these kids to grow and develop and be in pro environments where they can get experience. So that way when they get to top flight football, they have some experience under their belt.
Now, touching on the point that you brought up there brilliantly, when you were younger coming through, you didn't have all these facilities. You didn't have the indoor training facilities. You didn't have the coaching, per se, as you can deliver for your kids at the Dero TFC Academy now. So you really came through a tough zone and really made it big. What do you say to kids trying to make it through nowadays? How can they really pursue their goal of becoming a professional soccer player and follow possibly in your footsteps? How do they get there?
Well, the first thing has to come from just the love of the game. You have to love the game and genuinely love the game. And when I mean love the game, I know it sounds cliche and it sounds very simple, but I mean, when you're working hard and training hard and you feel like you're down and out, or your coach, your coach doesn't see the eye, or you feel like you should be in this position, or your parents are pushing you. At the end of the day, the only way you'll overcome all that is if you truly love what you do. And with that, there's obviously going to be many obstacles and hurdles that you're going to have to overcome, and it's your passion, your love for the game, and your self-belief that's going to help you push through to get to that next level. As you mentioned, there's so many environments now. I encourage always the kids to go see, go watch TFC play. Not so much for the results and the flashy moves and the goals, but more so just take in the environment, watch the body language of the players, watch the players in your position, what are they doing, and kind of be like your own kind of coach, and just expand your knowledge as much as possible, and that doesn't stop, that doesn't stop even when you become a professional. You always have to be very critical on yourself. You always have to be very mindful of always creating an opportunity to learn and not think that you have it all figured out.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Rosario, Dwayne Rosario. We know him as Dero, national team top scorer, 81 games, 22 goals, an absolute legend. Dero, talking about World Cup qualifying now, you've seen the last 6 games with qualifying from Team Canada. Just explain what you feel in a fan situation. What do you feel about this new team we've got on the field, where it's possibly going, and how you've enjoyed qualifying so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times for our national team program. It's exciting time for fans to be a part of this game. It's to see such a young, talented, and not only is talented, just a fearless team that we have on the field. It's very rare we've had so much attacking threats going forward. and everybody's contributing to the team's success. And what better time to be a fan of the program and watch it grow, and watching these, these kids like, Jonathan Davies, Alfonso Davies, um, and so many other young players growing up, Buchanan's, that, these are the future of Canada soccer, and it's refreshing. It's very refreshing to see, and I'm glad they're getting the opportunity, not only with the national team, but on the international stage as well, because playing minutes and playing games is a big reason why they're having so much success with our national team. So it's a joy to watch.
It totally is a joy to watch. I've got to tell you, in all the decades, and I mean, we've known each other since 2006, believe it or not, but in all the decades that I've covered the national team and been around it, I've never been this excited. And you know the one thing, Dwayne? Think about the factor of one thing, the pride that you, that I, that the whole nation has in behind the team, whereby it still is not in commercials. The shirts are still not in the stores, and people still cannot get those shirts. That's how this program is now developing, that people are now complaining they cannot get shirts in stores. And I remember 15 years ago when we spoke, you brought out the point that the guys in the team are not in commercials, the shirts are not in the stores for sales, and we still haven't moved far from that, but things are getting better. What's your take on what more we can?
These things definitely still frustrate me a whole lot. When you look at, we gotta, as Canadians, gotta shake this mentality of not wanting to really highlight and glorify and embrace our champions. And we have to do a better job of putting them on the forefront, putting them in front of the papers, putting them on billboards, putting them in commercials, and celebrate their success. I mean, you know, it's this. I hate to say it. It's like this Canadian mentality that hurts us. We have too much great players, um, in doing wonderful things in their respective clubs. Look at Alfonso Davies. He should be everywhere. If you put him in a different market, he would be all over the place. Atiba Hutchinson and what he's done in Besiktas, these guys are having storied careers, and it's important for our youth to feel a part of their story. It's important for our youth to feel connected, and right now there's still a disconnect. You're right, 100%. Why do I walk into soccer stores today and still see, yes, you're going to see Messi, the Cristiano, that's granted. I understand that. These guys are world figures. But it's time to start seeing our world figures as well, and putting them in the forefront of our kids' eyeballs and say, hey, you know what? That could be you, because our kids will understand Atiba Hutchinson's experience, understand the Dwayne Rosario, Paul Stalteri, Julian Guzman's experience, Jonathan David's experience. Our kids won't understand what it took Messi to get to the top level, or Cristiano Ronaldo, or Neymar. And we need to do a better job of just creating that narrative for our fans.
Looking at the World Cup qualifying itself, we've got 8 games to go. We're sitting in third, 10 points in. I think we're in a really good position. What's your thoughts on the final 8 games? Do you think Canada's got a chance at making it to Qatar, or do you think we should not really talk too much on it at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the moment, for sure, we have a great chance because we have our foot in the door, right? But, these things can change. We have to make sure, our guys are healthy. It was disappointing not to see a Larin and a Hutchinson not there, a part of these qualifiers due to Besiktas holding them back. And these things shouldn't happen at the international level, especially at a World Cup qualifier. But, thankfully we have weapons that could step up and fill these shoes. So, we haven't accomplished nothing yet. The guys are doing fantastic. Take nothing away from them, but we still have to take it one game at a time.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot still to play for. There's a lot at stake, and I think we're right now in a very good position. You look at it, and you tie Mexico in Mexico, you tie U.S. and U.S., arguably the 2 giants of CONCACAF. That's a pretty good thing to say at the end of the day.
And it makes you feel good. I mean, I've had lots of emails and texts from people who watch the show and people who know me personally, and you probably have too. And there's an absolute fever pitch across the nation where people are talking about this team. The only people that are not talking about it too much is the negative media, you know, the CBCs, the Globals, and the rest of them. But the soccer media are right on this. Everybody's filled with so much pride and so much happiness and so much joy. And when we go forward, like you said, we've got weapons that we never had before. Now, a point I want to bring from that is that I've always been a big fan of Rosario on the field, whether it was Houston Dynamo, TFC, Team Canada, didn't matter to me. You were the finished article. Even when you went across to Europe, you were the finished article. But question is, I and many thousands, hundreds of thousands of Canadians that watched the team of old loved you playing the game. How much would you have loved to have been with these guys playing games? Because you were our only goal threat, man. And nowadays we've got too many goal threats.
I mean, listen, obviously I would love to be in the midst of these young players, you know, because one thing I really love about them is they're fearless. You know,
Yes.
they take guys on, they penetrate past the defensive lines, they feed balls through. They're not afraid to play their game, whether that's in Canada or away. And like I said like earlier, it's refreshing. And of course, I would love to be a part of this team, and I still feel I am because you know I still support them. I still speak to a lot of the players and encourage them. And listen, one thing that I've always dreamt of as a kid is to make the World Cup.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't. I tried my best as a player, and I wasn't able to do that. But if I can see this young team make a World Cup, for me, it's still a dream come true.
Absolutely, mate. Two quick questions from people listening in. This one comes in from Mark Cavalier from Toronto. It's a really great question. He says, we have a lot of dual national players. How can we try to attract those players to the national team? That's Mark Cavalier from Toronto. How can we attract dual nationals to the team?
Well, I think the first thing starts with a call and a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, the second thing would be when we have players such like that do play for Canada that have a dual nationality, that really there is the advertising board for that to take place to follow through, correct? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, Canada's doing well right now, so it looks like a great place to that every player should want to play for Canada. There is dual nationalities all over Canada. It's just figuring out where they're playing and how they obviously fit into the coach's plans moving forward. But still, I mean, U.S., the rest of the world do it, right? They bring them in, just cap them, and then they develop, and if they develop into a great player, then they're part of the program. If they don't, then at least they're still part of this national pool. And just got to do a better job of identifying young talent that is going overseas, and get in the airs early.
Exactly. So people like Tamori, those are the guys that we need to keep in Canada. We need to do a better job on loving those guys and entertaining those guys, enticing those guys, and giving them a program to move forward and actually sit them down or get that phone call, like you said, and sit them down and say, hey, you can carry on and you can have one or two, maybe 5 games for England if you're lucky, or you can have a complete career and maybe we'll go to the World Cup and possibly play England in a World Cup. And who knows? They're not that great. We might even beat them. So I think people who've seen people drift away from us, I think, like you said, with the promotion of this team, the way it's playing, the whole organization doing such a great job in certain areas, not all areas, but you can't get to Rome in one day. But I think the program is showing the mirror to the young kids coming through, and more especially the young kids like Tejon, Alfonso, Jonathan, Stephen in the team. Those are billboards for young kids to look at and say, I want to be part of that team now. I can't wait for tomorrow. And I think we are witnessing that. And I think that's really where it's going to end up promoting us to another level. But before we end this, Dwayne, there's been a lot of great things happen in your career personally. If you could look back and find out or dig out one of the greatest stories, or perhaps maybe one of the funniest things that happened to you in the game of the football, because let's face it, it's a joke a minute when you're training. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on that people do not get to, but if there's one funny or great story, let's have it. Give us a story from your career, mate.
Oh man, I would go with a funny story. I can't remember where we were playing. I think it was in oh man, was it in Czech Republic? It was in one of these Eastern European countries, and I was feeling myself that game. You know, I felt like I was invincible. Until I beat a
Yeah.
player. Beat a player down the line, and I tried to get cheeky and do like a, you know, when you scissor kick the ball.
Yeah.
Tried to cross it.
Oh, yeah.
And I completely missed the ball, and because I was going so fast, my body weight just tumbled right over, and the ball ran out of bounds for a corner. And that was probably like one of my most embarrassing moments to cap off what was a great game.
Oh.
But, I'll still do it again. I'll still try it again.
And there's plenty of people there to watch it, yeah?
Oh yeah. They're whistling and everything. I was like, okay, fair enough.
That's absolutely fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Here, there's got quick fire, fast and furious, what we did all the time before. But these are quick questions, with just quick fire back answers. So no particular order, but these have been arranged just for your fun. So what's your favourite colour?
Green.
Favourite soccer team, but not TFC?
Favorite soccer team, not TFC. Barcelona.
Oh yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on VAR?
Old Barcelona.
Old Barcelona, yes, absolutely. Old Barcelona, big time, not the new one. They are in trouble big time. But third one down, VAR. What are your thoughts on VAR?
Double-edged sword.
Brilliant. And your favourite shirt number and why?
14.
And I know why, but tell everybody why. Come on.
Why do you know? Let me hear your.
Well, I'll tell you what,
why.
I've seen you wear that number for so many teams that it's a case of I've got a feeling that when Dero signs for the club, apart from the national team, which was given to you, but I got a feeling when Dero goes in for that contract, which is a big contract, people, this was a top player, but I got a feeling that was probably written in the contract that you wanted that number.
Yes. It was, I'll tell you what happened was when I was always number 7 originally. And with the national team, Paul Stalteri was 7. And being that he was older than me, he ended up getting the 7. So I said, okay, you're going to do 7? Okay, I'm going to double up and go 14. And that's it. That's how it stuck.
Dero, I've seen guys work in the community, mate, but you never stop. And it's an honour and a privilege, again, to have you on the phone and to talk with you again, my friend, because every time we do, it's like I'm talking to a friend I've known for 35 million years.
Man, I appreciate that so much. And please keep an eye out for my son, Rosario, who's now playing in First Division in Ukraine, pursuing his football passion, his football dreams. And, you know, I'm also not only helping on the community, I'm also trying to raise young champions myself. And my other son, Adisa, is with Toronto FC Youth Academy. So I'm really excited and really happy for them in their future.
Again, thanks so much, Dwayne. It's been brilliant, mate. Absolutely loved it. And I'm in your debt.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate you. Thanks so much, man. Have a good one.
You too, bud.
Take care.
This is Ultimate Soccer with Soccer Steve.